All right, guys, welcome back to SnapperChats, the #1 solar podcast in the entire world. We're super stoked. We got an incredible guest today. This man is an absolute genius. He has found a gap in the solar industry, and he has filled it. And so we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to be giving you guys some motivation to be successful in solar. Again, our goal with SnapperChats and with Snapper Academy is really to add as much value as we possibly can for everybody in the solar industry. So guys, welcome. If you guys have not watched our content before, my name is Will Ellermitz, one of the founders of Snapper Academy. I'm also the Vice President of Expansion for Nevo Solar, and I'm going to pass it over to my co-host, Matthew Beeler, to introduce you guys our incredible guest for today.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. So we were just talking a little bit before this podcast, and me and Will, we come from the sales side of the solar industry. And one thing that a lot of us reps have been told is the solution to all of your problems is just go knock more doors. Just go get more deals. Just go make more sales. And the reality of it is, yes, hard work is really important, but you can work harder and you can work smarter. And our guest today, Max, has come up with a great solution, one that we've been able to implement ourselves at Nevo and really see the benefits of it. So Max, I would love for you to introduce yourself a little bit, talk about your background, how you found the solar industry, and really what Coperniq offers to the industry.
Absolutely. No, big shout out to Snapper Academy and to Nevo Solar. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Matt, for having me on the pod today. It's a great pleasure. For me, the story or kind of the into the solar industry, everyone's got their own, origin story. For me was kind of semi-random. My family got screwed over, burned pretty badly by a solar company here in the Bay Area. We're based in SF. They're in East Bay. Long story short, it was 2017, kind of like your classic sales rep didn't know what he was talking about, pushy, shady tactics. We'll say anything and say yes to anything to get, my grandfather to sign on the dotted line. And then like your typical 300 days to permits, it was like 500 days or something gross to glass on roof. And then the company actually went out of business. They were a SunPower dealer. I know that's like in the zeitgeist right now. We'll get to SunPower, I'm sure. They were a SunPower dealer. So then SunPower came in to clean up the mess, made an even bigger mess. Bottom line, kind of just saw the inequity and the lack of sales rep education, the lack of consumer education. Didn't think much of it. I was still in college, was kind of like, whoa, okay, I'm never going in the solar industry. Fast forward a couple years, transferred to Berkeley, ran into one of the brightest minds I know to date. He's now my co-founder and CEO, Abdullah. He was an energy engineer at an internship working at Solar City through the Tesla energy roll-up. He saw all the madness and the chaos at a 10x, 100x order of magnitude on the back end. And kind of between his intuition from the back end and just me seeing the consumer experience or lack thereof, we were like, let's put our heads together. He had a return offer from Tesla, but he didn't want to be just like engineer number 1,500 at Tesla. I was going to go like just do computer science, software engineering. I didn't want to be engineer number 10,001 at LinkedIn. We were like, let's put our heads together. This industry needs better tech on the back end. But our tech is really not just for operations. I don't want there to be some kind of silo. It's also for sales reps just as much, because it really helps protect the integrity of the sale. And you guys are not just, the sales reps out there are not just selling an amazing product, but also a customer experience. And we can touch a little bit more on that later, I'm sure. But that's kind of what got me, how I got the solar bug. Yeah.
That's really interesting to hear that origin story, because we say that every single day. I tell my story, I hear Beeler's story, I hear people like John Frampton's story, the CEO of Nevo, and it's like, wow, we've got some incredible stories. And then it's like you got the brand new rep that comes into our company last week, puts in 5 installs, makes more money than he's ever made in an entire, I don't want to say a year, but maybe a couple of months. And then it's like we're focusing on doing it the right way. We really want to make sure that homeowners we're not just looking for sales, we're looking for happy customers. And that sounds like that was a part of your origin story. So it's like for me, I really, really appreciate hearing that. And I think, we have gotten the pleasure to be working with you now for several months now. We're rolling out our partnership with Coperniq, which we're really excited about. And so I think it was really interesting just to kind of hear how you were commenting on how solar companies such as Nevo really need to focus on like what they're good at, which is helping homeowners go solar, right, and getting installs versus creating the tech and that was where you saw the gap. So I'd love to kind of hear what you did to distinguish yourself from maybe other people doing that, and really what you're doing with Coperniq to be the authority in the space, which you guys are, and that's why we chose to partner up with you guys.
For us, again, going back to the Berkeley days and the college days, we had looked at the industry and just kind of like even a superficial, like 10-second Google search immediately showed us a tremendous gap. The only things that came up for solar software, solar tech were Aurora's still king, but then, all the solos and the solar graphs, there's like proposal tool, bank. Again, not dissing anyone, those are integral parts of our ecosystem, but nothing, no mention of project management, SOPs, process, control, all the things that, like you said, like the flip side of the coin, right? You need sales, but you need the ops. Otherwise, it's a non-start. And the closest thing that we saw were, there's obviously Scoop Solar, there's Nexus Solar. There's a couple companies that have been doing it for the past like 10, 15 years. And we stand on the shoulders of those giants. Like, I appreciate everyone who came prior to us, but there seemed to be no one doing it with really like Berkeley and Silicon Valley and like hardcore engineering intensity. And that's the gap that we try to fill. And we resisted the pressure of being like an everything to everyone. As you can imagine with your early clients, you'll just kind of like say yes to any feature request, kind of like the uninitiated sales rep will say yes to anything. As a software company, there's a temptation to say yes just to get the logo, get the deal. But we had to say a lot of no's. For every yes, we probably said 5 no's. No, we won't do our own proposal tool. It's not coming soon on the roadmap. It's probably never coming. We'll integrate with Aurora. We'll integrate with Solar. We'll integrate with the greats. No, we won't do commission tracking. No, we won't do canvassing. And by just refining and honing our craft, which is really operations and construction management, and through those no's, we lost a lot of companies, great companies out there, but we were able to find the Nevos of the world, right? Kind of like the strong tail. Everyone talks about the long tail. I like to call them the strong tail of the industry, folks that combine excellent salesmanship with excellent craftsmanship. And we just want to be the latter and integrate and play, ball with the former, with the sales pieces.
Yeah, I think that's a really good perspective of how to actually scale your business. So you mentioned the roadmap a little bit and like what you guys have done to make sure you stay on that specific road. What does Coperniq look like in 10 years from now? What is the 40,000 foot overview goal of this company that you guys are building?
Yeah, that's a great time horizon, I think, to think on. And very few people in the solar industry think on that time horizon, right? I mean, there are like the nationals and the corporates and the publicly traded ones, right? But nobody thinks about like the exit strategy, both on a human, like individual level. I'm sure it's the same way in sales, and on like a company level. Everyone's just thinking about like paycheck to paycheck, making payroll, paying installers, paying reps. So I'm glad you guys are thinking about that. And that's, I think, also what makes Nevo very different. For us, the 2030 goal, because everyone talks about 30 by 2030 and then 50 by 2050. Let's just look at 2030 and maybe 2034. So by 2030, we definitely want to perfect all the software infrastructure, not just to get glass on roof and to get to PTO. We already have that. We are the best in that category. We also want to give you guys, the EPCs and integrated sales orgs of the world, really good technology, Tesla level tech, right? And I'll let our users be the judge of whether I'm kind of, BSing and if it's marketing or, try our software, give you Tesla level tech to not just get to PTO with a happy customer, great timelines and excellent quality, but also, okay, we've gotten to PTO, we have all these systems out there. How do we continue to generate value for homeowners through service, through giving them that peace of mind? And of course, for the EPCs of the world and the sales reps, how do we be the first to respond on, oh, this homeowner might need a battery, this homeowner might need a heat pump, whatever, right? And anytime that there is a signal like that, it's, again, nothing without the sales rep. There's no person in a better position to take care of a homeowner 2 years, 3 years down the line than the sales rep who originally helped them get the foot in the door, set them on the electrification path. So it's going to be one of those things where sales and ops have to be like in a really good long-term relationship to take care of these customers 10 to 20 years. And that brings me kind of like to the 10-year horizon. on a 10-year horizon, we want to give you guys all the infrastructure to be a better utility company to these folks, right? I think the best in class solar companies are realizing we're not just hanging and banging panels, or we're not just selling and then hanging and banging panels. We are giving these folks a better alternative to the centralized grid, and easier said than done, right? So I won't speak too much. There are some things that are still kind of on the roadmap, but really giving you guys a way to kick, PG&E, SDG&E, insert your local utility's name, ass and round circles around them, and give homeowners a 10x electrification experience.
It's interesting, I think, because a lot of our audience is not necessarily CEOs of companies. It's the brand new setter that comes into the industry, and they're watching our content, and they're looking for advice on the doors and how to go into being a closer and recruit a team. And so what does our relationship at Nevo with Coperniq do to make it so that we can ensure a better process for the sales rep that comes into our company? Like, what are the issues that you're solving with Coperniq that's going to make it so that setters, closers, managers have a better overall experience in regards to sales and operations?
I mean, one thing to add on to that before you answer, Max, is just always keeping in mind that as a solar company, you have two sales. You have the sale to the homeowner. You have to protect the homeowner, put their interests first, and give them a great experience over the full term of not just the sale, but the warranties. We have to be there to service them. And then our second sale is for the sales reps. And so with that sales rep in mind and that second type of sale in mind, how can we use Coperniq to better that sale for the sales rep?
Let's kind of go with that. Let's try to balance on those two stools, right? So the first thing you mentioned was just a better ultimately experience, right? The sales rep is happy ultimately and wins if what they're promising, because I think the best sales reps develop very intimate relationships with their clients. They truly are promising it as if it was their grandfather, right? As if it was their mother. So protecting the promise of the sale, meaning things not getting bogged down in onboarding, right? How many times do folks just throw something over the fence into I'm going to diss a little bit the status quo of the industry, into a Salesforce instance, into a NetSuite instance, into a Jot form for it to only get stuck, right? And how many cancellations just happen immediately just because the ball gets dropped, right? Just you guys build all that hype on the doors and build an amazing intimate relationship with a homeowner. They're sold, and then there's like the letdown, and the sales reps in the hot seat because they're the ones who essentially inflated expectations at that point, right? So we help with speedy submissions and fast turnarounds in terms of getting to a permit. Well, first getting to a site survey, right? To give them that not dopamine hit, but let's call it instant gratification of, oh wow, stuff's actually happening. There's logistical construction stuff happening at my home or property. That's one. Second thing is, of course, getting the glass on the roof, and then ultimately interconnecting and having the sales rep be able to not just demo Enphase or an OEM, but demo their own companies and their own colors portal, and really walk them through that customer journey, right? So that's kind of the value or the extent to which we try humbly to equip both operations, but also salespeople, because the best salespeople stick around for the ops part with tools that make them a next-gen Tesla or a next-gen Sonova, right? Without all the asset heavy and all the bullshit on the back end. So that's kind of the first value add. The second value add you mentioned in terms of recruiting, right? And just, attracting the best talent. I would say the best salespeople will always choose 10 times out of 10, a better playbook, better leadership, better SOPs, and better, everyone talks about UX, user experience, or CX, customer experience. It gets thrown around a lot, in stories. Nobody talks about SX, sales experience, right? So ultimately, when we kind of already talked about sales experience, that was the first thing, right, with the tools that we use. But the other things are the leadership and the mentorship and the playbooks. And without going into too much detail, in Coperniq, you can really build playbooks for automated emails, for automated follow-up, for a sales rep being notified if, for example, someone's deal is starting to rot, as we say, in permitting, or where the deals go to die, permitting and interconnection, right? So it can automatically alert the sales rep and allow them to put their best foot forward, come for the rescue, right? So it's through little things like that. And then, of course, for managers, because we give them visibility into not just the best sales rep in terms of deals signed, but the best sales rep in terms of whose glass goes on the roof, whose glass goes to gets permission to operate. Being able to pick winners and sometimes spot maybe the people that need to be coached and trained a little bit, and sometimes cutting bait with folks who are underperforming, right? Like, let's face it, nobody's in this industry to be nice. People are in this industry to do an impact and do their best work. So those are kind of like, through analytics and through KPIs, are how we help sales mentors and sales leaders coach and have better feedback loops with the folks boots on the ground, whether they're, you know, setters or closers or self-gen.
I love it. Just kind of going back to the whole origin story, because, you know, for me, I think I'm a big marketer, you know, and I just love talking to people and hearing people's stories and hearing what drives them and like kind of where they came from and what inspires them ultimately to like you're talking about, make that positive impact. And it's like the previous solar company I was at, just terrible operations, right? We would go out and we would get the sales and then they wouldn't install them in a very timeline manner. And then when they did get them installed, there was, you know, just a horrible customer service, not getting PTO on time. So kind of like your story there. And it's like, the reason why I joined Nevo was because I knew that they wanted to truly not just get sales. They wanted to have happy customers. But the last missing piece to the whole thing was having the tech stack on point. And over this last year, Nevo has literally changed every single bit of their tech stack within the last year, to the point where now it's set up to where we can truly have the best experience possible. And a huge part of that is because of you, Max. And so with that being said, like, I'm just extremely grateful and appreciative. You know, when we met you for the first time in person, because everything we've been doing has been remote, you just were phenomenal, you know, and I can't say enough good things about you. The way that you were able to present to the room, which these people in the room, it's like they really know the business at the highest level, right, with our internal ops team. And I think what was so fascinating was that you knew the language as well. You knew the terms with PTO, permission to operate. You knew the terms with RFI, ready for install. You knew about interconnections. You understand the entire business with solar, right? You're not just coming in and saying, hey, I'm a tech person. You're saying I'm solar and we specialize in tech. And I think that was just a beautiful thing. And so I'm just very excited because we were able to make this happen with you. And it was the last piece of the puzzle for us to hit our goal of being the most trusted brand in solar and being the greatest sales force on planet Earth and just taking this thing to the moon, where we're one of the biggest, you know, players in the solar industry and just helping the most people. And it's not necessarily like we want to be the biggest company, but we want to have the most impact and be the one that people look at, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now saying, this is the most trusted brand in solar. This company is the company that takes care of homeowners and it's the best company in the world. And so technology, you have to have it. And you were the one that filled that gap. So I just want to say thank you so much. And I appreciate you. And I'm excited you're here, and hearing your story is awesome. But more importantly, it's like what you've done with this technology is phenomenal. I'm not a tech guy, right? But I understand it. And what you created is 10 out of 10. It's the best. And we're very excited to take this to the moon with you. And so just from the bottom of my heart, we appreciate you. And we're very excited for a very long-term relationship and partnership with you guys at Coperniq and Nevo. And it's going to be incredible, bro.
Likewise. Thank you, guys. I do want to just add a small, maybe not a nugget, but just something that could hopefully be tactical to our audience today. And they can walk away with something there. To any company out there, whether you're Nevo Solar, whether you're just kind of a long tail EPC, or maybe you got laid off from one of these, I'm not going to name drop anyone, everyone knows what I'm talking about, the Big 10, and you're starting your sort of 2.0, right? Like thinking, what would I do differently, where my bosses, maybe my supervisors at my last gig fell a little bit short. Coperniq is not the answer for everyone. Nothing ever is, right? There are no magic bullets in any industry, especially this industry. The biggest favor that an EPC of any size, or I shouldn't say any size, that has at least, you know, 1 or 2 trucks that are already boots on the ground, they can basically do the installs and put the glass on the roof, right? And sell it. Because at that point you have everything but one little missing puzzle piece. Well, like you said, being a technology driven company is not the same as being a tech company. A tech company builds everything in-house, literally reinvents the wheel because it has some kind of unique competitive advantage. EPCs out there, integrated companies out there, focus on what you do best, right? Excellent ethical salesmanship on the front end, and just superior craftsmanship and an amazing, I'd add to that, Matt, a shout out, an amazing brand and an amazing customer experience and a customer journey. Focus on those three things. Nowhere in there is hiring developers to build business intelligence pipelines or operation tools like the wheel that we've already invented for you guys right here at Coperniq. So whether it's with Coperniq, whether it's with anyone else, just invest in tools, and hopefully going back to what do I hope to see 5 years, 10 years down the line, that 2 years down the line, next year even, 2025 is going to be the big year that everyone's looking forward to. Reinventing the wheel and building your own software will be as obnoxious, as ridiculous as saying like, oh, we build our own hardware. Because we've seen what's happened to the vertically integrated companies that try to build their own hardware, right? Software, I think, is the next, and the ecosystem is maturing with players like ourselves, where you should be able to go and just grab something off the shelf and focus on what you do best, taking care of what's the order of the planet, the homeowner, the employees, and then ultimately, as owners of those EPCs, having some take home at the end of the day when all is said and done, because you're doing all this phenomenal hard work. So that's just my message to all kind of our listeners out there. And once again, folks, amazing to continue to deepen our relationship with Nevo, with you guys. Just looking forward to 2025 and beyond and what the future holds.
Awesome. Well, Max, again, we appreciate you. This has been a phenomenal podcast again with the Snapper Chats. And again, guys, we just want to add as much value for everybody that's tuning in. So again, if your company is not set up in a way where you've got the tech on point and all the processes and all the automations and everything like that set up, then maybe hit us up. But just make sure that you're set up in the right spot, and make sure that you guys have full confidence and conviction in what you guys are doing. And so, yeah, we're very excited, Max, about what we've got going on this next year and this lifetime with you. And so we appreciate you. We really enjoyed hanging out with you in person. You're a solid dude. You're very smart. You've got a great background, and you're the man for the job. So we appreciate you for what you do, and thank you again for coming on this podcast. And until then, guys, we will see you on the next episode with Snapper Chat. And it sounds like we might have a part 2 with Max as well. So we'll stay tuned for that. And until then, guys, we'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.